What is not?
But there are ways to detox, like, and just even take care of yourself. Like, you wouldn't have as likelihood to have effects. But I just shared on my channel a video I hadn't watched yet, but it was something that was shared with me about a doctor talking about ways to mitigate the damage. Actually, Joe Rosati shared it with me on Truth Stream Media, so I have yet to watch that, but he's been putting out pretty good content lately, so that might have some good suggestions.
Hey, what's going on with you guys and the eggs? I'm hearing something about an egg shortage in America or something.
No.
Yeah, there's a national egg shortage, which I didn't even know about until I was in Whole Foods and saw these signs on the egg refrigerators saying there's a national egg shortage. And I was like, what the fuck? So I looked it up, and apparently there was an avian flu. They had to kill a bunch of chickens and killed a lot of them preemptively. And apparently in 2022, like 60 million egg-bearing chickens were killed, some preemptively, some because they were sick. And now there's supposedly an egg shortage.
10 out of 10 was the Wuhan virus avian flu. There's no other way. That's
a lot of dead chickens.
Hold on. There's another video, and my friend has chickens, and there's a video by this farmer girl. She says her chickens stopped laying eggs last year, October, November, December, because something is wrong with the feed. She switched to sheep feed, and my friend is like, no wonder I'm having the same problem. So she's switching her feed as well.
Yeah, would not surprise me. It's pretty scary what they can do, but and the other thing that's kind of scary is a lot of these farmers like are not conscious or aware. Like, even the ones that are like organic or farmers market. I mean, the one that comes to my farmers market where I get my most pure grass-fed, I guess, is organic beef from, the people who run the place are clearly not healthy themselves. And so I'm like, they're probably not going to make the right decisions with regards to, you know, vaccinating their livestock or whatever, the feed. So they're doing some things right, but it's like, I don't trust them to be like fully up to, like, we need truthers running the farms. We need truthers who know how dangerous big pharma and big agri is running these farms and raising cattle and chickens. So, I mean, I never wanted to be a farmer, but it seems like someone needs to pick up the ball.
Well, if Bill Gates can do it,
I hope you're getting a lot of distortion in your mic. I can hardly hear you.
Okay. Have you guys talked about the M1 Abrams yet that they're trying to send to Ukraine?
No. They're trying to send M1 Abrams to Ukraine right now?
Well, actually, it's official. They are going to do it, but it's going to take a few months.
That's scary.
Yeah, I know. And Russia said they would retaliate with nuclear capabilities.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Whatever that means.
Go for it.
If you know a country is having a war, let's say like Ukraine, would you go and visit it?
No.
Who do you know went to go visit Ukraine?
I'm so
I wouldn't visit it even if it wasn't having a war.
Oh, okay. Well, any country, if it was having a war or another country, bigger countries invading it, you wouldn't just go and visit, right?
No.
Not unless you were a spy.
Right. So I'm having like my friend's dad went over there. The mom went there 2 months, I think, October, November. I'm like, how are they? Why would they go? Oh, he's remodeling our old house over there. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah, he hears some booms next to the border because I think they're like 2 hours away from the border. I'm like, but why would you go there now? I just don't understand. So part of me thinks it's something's fake. The other part is just so confused. By the way, till this day, no one asked me to donate any amount of money, all the Russian Ukrainians, to Ukraine. All the fundraisers that I heard happen, but no one asked me to donate to their cause. So, and I still don't know anyone who's dead. They say they call me names, but I'm like, but is your father alive? Yep, I talk to him every other day. So, and then my American friends say, well, during the World War II, not a lot of people we know that died, like our parents didn't die, or like, older people that were alive back then. But I don't know. So anyway, sorry.
Don't mind me, just setting stuff up. Mm-hmm.
Scoob, were you out for several weeks, not doing mystery school?
Yeah, I was taking a holiday break, so to speak.
It was
Sabbatical.
awful difficult.
All right, so let's get started.
Well, I'm gonna pop out. I might come back in.
Yeah, you're fine.
But yeah, we gotta keep the main channel going too. And for some reason, I don't try to time it when we were doing this, but it seems to happen that way sometimes. I mean, Wednesday night was recording night.
Yes, it was.
So I'll try to wrap this up quick and jump back in later. But good luck with the Vatican.
Yep.
And stay tuned. This video I'm making is going to be about Dark Fleet.
Oh, okay, you're talking about that video?
I'm going to talk about that video, yeah, and throw in a few more little tidbits. So
I literally hammered out both parts today, and yeah, this first part's definitely better than the second one. The second one, it felt so unorganized and just all over the place.
I mean, yeah, a lot about spider tanks.
Yeah, a little too much.
All right, well, I'll catch you guys later.
Yes, sir. So, as we normally do here as a tradition, when we finish our rants, we like to show you the sun activity. What's been going on with our great big ball in the sky?
Can I say something?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, from what I understand, the Catholics believe that they are the holiest, closest to God religion on the earth. And that, from what I can tell, was around 30 AD. And that's why they associate so closely to Jesus. Now, and that's, there's also that they removed, and I think this was during Constantinople, where he took a lot of the books that were in the Bible at the time and took those, and I believe it was with the Catholic or Roman Catholic, but they took it down to 66 books in the Bible. Now there's that 66 again, which makes sense. Several years ago, it was reported that there was a raid or underground into the Vatican, and they found at least 144 books of the Bible that had been put away. Does anybody else hear about that, or am I on a previous timeline?
No, you're not. You are right on the money.
And I had a chance to go to Rome, and I had converted from Methodist to Catholicism in the mid 90s and was very comfortable with my religion. But when I went to Rome, it did not feel like what I anticipated it feeling. There are a lot of small Gothic type gargoyle. And I don't know if that was to remind people and keep the fear in them, but around certain points in St. Peter's Square too, which I felt was odd. And then when I walked into St. Peter's, they have the high and the low and several little worship areas, and then you had to be careful so that you didn't walk over a previous pope that was buried there. So it was rather strange. The only thing that I got any good feeling out was the name where the paintings on the ceilings. I'm drawing a loss.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like oh my God, it's so beautiful. That's what sucks about the Vatican is it's so beautiful, but it's so corrupted. But
Right.
yeah,
Right, and it does kind of it. Mind you, I've always been a thinker and a skeptic a little bit, but it just it just didn't feel like I anticipated what I had been led to believe that it would.
that's because everything on the surface isn't as it seems. Meaning they have to appease and keep a certain level of a facade so that their followers, their the religion can thrive while they also go up in rank to the power authorities and do what they want behind the scenes, as we all know. And another thing that I don't think a lot of people think about, especially when we talk about pedophilia, is that these religious figures, shall we call them, are sworn to celibacy. So they basically are forbidden from having sexual intercourse. And what does that do, especially with all of the masculines in this group right here? You could probably figure this out, is that when you're deprived of that innate urge to procreate, you start to, or at least they start to try to find um, a loophole in the contract. And so they're like, well, if I sodomize this boy, I'm not doing against God's will. But then that's on the general surface, because I honestly believe that, just as Scuba said, just as Enoch said, on a level from high bishop to the pope, you are almost undoubtedly Satanist. Like there is some kind of contract that you go beyond what others know. It's like the best way to compare the lower bishops in another context of esoteric study would be the Freemasons. Like both on the lower ranks, they believe it's not as bad as it seems. It's just an organization. But again, the higher in rank you go, the deeper and darker it gets. So visiting this beautiful cathedral style space with beautiful architecture and artwork may have been done with good intention, but again, it's the inhabitants that really darken the space, not the artwork or the prestige of the building itself.
Absolutely.
Funny because I was thinking about the Freemasons when you and Scuba were talking. It's kind of like on the local level, people don't have a clue.
Exactly.
No. They won't.
Yeah, they think it's just like a good way to network and grow business communications, but again, you start to do some nefarious things. You start to metaphorically sell your soul. Just as Scuba said, he said something very, very profound that I hope all of you really like ingrained, which is the karma that these people are generating are stunting of evolutionary growth, meaning that all of the quote unquote, as they would like to call sins, all of these acts of self-service and horrific nature, these things are quite literally chain linking them to this dimension. They're not going anywhere. They have to be here for many, many more incarnations to work off all of this karmic debt. And while they believe, whether they're tricked or lied to by whatever supreme authority they face, they think that they're in the right and that they could just repent their way out of these things, but they can't. This is long-term big deal soul stuff. So it's also important to remember that.
Yeah. And there's one other thing on the conspiracy theory that supposedly there is a train between the Vatican and Israel, which would connect with the Zionists for trafficking and the movement of children.
Oh, you should definitely watch The Vatican Girl on Netflix. I'm just putting that out there. It's going to connect all the dots that you're looking for.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can I jump in for a second?
Go for it.
It's good to hear you guys. It's been a long time. Hope you guys had a good holidays and everything.
Likewise.
So jumping in with this stuff, like, so anthropology and chimpanzees and everything. I had to write this out. Old news. I've repeated myself. Young primates kicked out of a tribe, they will join together and not and follow other tribes, but won't grow actually physically into a real, like, they won't hit past puberty. They will always stay stunted, like Junk said, and they will rape and obviously can't procreate and keep females within their own tribe without being used or killed or anything because they're just so violent all the time. But so they only have to recruit other ones kicked out of other tribes. And until the point where I haven't seen a video of this, but probably to a point where all the other tribes that actually have, you know, alpha males and everything like that, a whole society, beautiful society, and they have to knock these I forget the name, but I'll just say premature chimpanzees, but these are violent little animals. You got to look it up. It's not the first time I said this, but yeah, it's kind of the same concept that with humans. I mean, I didn't go that far into it, so I'm going to stop right there. But you got to look up the chimpanzee thing that they create this tribe. It's really nasty and brutal. But yeah, good to be back.
Good to have you back, my friend.
Oh yeah. Don't forget about the solar stuff in the picture.
Oh yeah, I know. You guys just started going on.
Hold on, Scuba, 1 second. So Clara wants to share her experience of going into the Vatican really quick because I think it's good to get a point of view perspective as well. So I'm just going to let her jump in really quick.
Oh, hi. Yes, going into the Vatican, I think, is different when you're conscious about what's happening in the real world with these people. The first thing you notice is that you change, the atmosphere changes around you. You start to feel like heavy. That's what I sense, that it is. The air becomes heavier when you are inside the Vatican. And something that caught my attention a lot was the amount of hallways and entrances and everything that it leaded everybody downstairs. So of course you start to wonder immediately what do they keep there and what's going on underneath the Vatican itself. And I have always known throughout my life that they have treasures, and everything that they stole from all over the world is there, like a huge warehouse, and everything that you are not supposed to see is there, because of course the church is the most powerful institution in the world. And in Italy they say after the football, because of course first comes the FIFA, which is the richest institution in the world, and after the FIFA itself is the church, starting from everything that is there on the Vatican. And as you walk over there, of course, it feels cold around you, and all this art that they have there is something that you will never forget. But as you go outside, and then you start to see all these symbols that are mainly and the Freemasons are there all over the backyard. So it's impossible not to realize that there is something really, really dark going on there at the church. And right there in Italy, they know everything about these scandals that are, involving all the priests and all the people that lives there, and they always keep that in silence. So I will say that for me, it was a very powerful experience to be there. I visited the Vatican twice, and the second time it was very different because it was practically empty due to the time of the day. And I was able to kind of connect really well with the environment, the building, and the whole energy of that place, which is, as I said, very, very, very dense and very dark. So the only thing that is different about what you are sensing is mainly two beautiful pieces that you will never ever forget that are there. One is the Sixtine Chapel, which is a artwork that is absolutely stunning, beautiful. And the second is a sculpture showing Mother Mary and Jesus, which is called La Pietà. Is beautiful. It's done in white marble, and that's the only bright thing I remember from my visit of, I don't know, maybe more than 2 hours to this complex called the Vatican. But the majority of people, they don't realize that there is also an Egyptian obelisk inside the Vatican. Majority of people, they just don't realize where they are, what's this building, the amount of corruption that is there. For me, it was a surprise to see people, thousands of people just waiting for the chance to be in the service done by the Pope and all that, because the majority of humans, they are connected to the lies and not with the truth, unfortunately. So they just go there with the hope to even be near or close to this place where the Pope is. And it's very hard when you are there and you are experiencing and sensing that a majority of human beings, they are just there to worship, and still after so many thousands of years, worship the church and everything that is represented by the church, including the Pope.
Hey, Scuba, you're muted.
Hey, just realized that. Thank you. Lovely, lovely talk. Thank you, Clara, for that first-hand account of actually touching the building and feeling its dark energy. It's humbling to hear a story like that, to know that the stories aren't, just stories, that it's actually true, that place really is as dense as they like to say it is. But yeah, we have talked about the Vatican to death tonight. Let's talk about the sun a little bit. So over the last month, it's been pretty active. The most sunspots we've seen in a long time in just a month span. And it's funny because 2023 is the solar maximum for sunspots. So we're going to see a lot more increased activity. Will there be a large solar flare this year? That's a good question. There have already been big solar flares in the CMEs this year, and it hasn't even finished the first month. But coincidentally enough, not a single one of them has been aimed at Earth. Now, they have caused solar storms, but we go through solar storms all the time, and the magnetic fields are, not getting any stronger. They're weakening every day. But as far as us getting a direct blast, no, it has not happened yet, and it is not looking like it anytime soon yet. But that is our forecast for the next 3 days. We're going to get a lot of...
Has anybody's head been buzzing for the past week really hard?
I wouldn't say buzzing. I'd say ringing.
Yeah, I got that too. We are exiting the Mercury retrograde and going into more of a positive time. And also we had something called the wax moon, which I don't know a whole lot about, but it was also very spiritually significant for positive energies and manifestation. So a lot of you might have experienced some ascension symptoms.
So yeah, we got ourselves a relatively calm sun, not super active, relatively calm. At least this week. Next week, who knows? It could be immensely active, or it could be just as quiet as it is now. We never know, because what we see is only a fraction of what's going on with the actual sun. I just want to scroll up a little bit just to make sure that I didn't miss any. I don't think so. No, I did not. All right. That's what we got on our lovely, handy dandy sun radar, and what we picked up this week. Relatively pill-shaped object. If you look to the directly south of it, you could see another one. More of a slimmer type of craft, but this one is very pronounced. Like I said, a more pill-shaped, but you can see dots coming off of it, so it might have deployed scout ships to do whatever, probably to take readings of the sun or whatnot. Now, I have a very, 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 very interesting question that I would like to relay to everybody. Thank you to Gary McKinnon for giving us this information. Although Corey Good is a bullshit piece of shit liar, he was right about Solar Warden actually existing, and that's not because of him. That is because of Gary McKinnon hacking the NASA data network and finding a loophole and being able to discover a whole bunch of information on the secret space program. But I have an interesting question, and this is, more or less to just everybody out in the audience. Let your mind think a little bit. I don't expect you to really know, but think about it. To our regulars, you guys have seen enough craft to where this question will definitely make you think. And that is this a ship from Solar Warden or the Nazi space program? And I would wager that when we see those massive clusters of ships, it's the Nazis. And I hate saying that, but I don't know what else to call them at this point. They are fucking... No, you know what? Let me call them what they are. The Draco husks. They are no longer Nazis. They are Draco husks because they are controlled by the Draco masters.
Are they even, fully human anymore? They probably got their DNA messed with. It's been a couple generations.
Well, that's the funny thing. A lot of them, as far as eugenics, yes, they are fully human. because they're very, very specific on breeding children. They have to be. I mean, if you really think about it and boil it down, they absolutely have to be smart and specific when it comes to their breeding process.
My question is, you don't think they got pulled into a pact with the Dracos or Greys where they
already did.
had,
What are you talking about?
yes, but where they were forced to you know, for example, modify their genetics
They already did.
or whatever. Oh yeah.
You got to think of it this way. The moment you make a deal with them, you are, aligning yourself to basically treat them as if they are God. They are our creators. They are our evolution. That is what we should, as human beings, strive to be. When you take on the Draco indoctrination and the Draco ideology into your life, you are basically submitting yourself to total and utter control over a civilization from the inside out. And that's exactly what happened to them. I mean, you got to think of it this way. These are people that sit here and think that the highest honor is meeting with, one of these Draco reptilians, but, they're not meeting with them. Their bodies are getting stolen for them to be husks for a Draco to inhabit, to assert more control inside the civilization.
Hey, Scuba, I have a follow-up question.
Go for it.
So, after seeing and studying and getting my firsthand absolute internal confirmation that these things are not only real, but they're regular, do you think that there will be, and I know we don't like dates or numbers around here, but do you think that there's going to be a reintroduction of the galactic presence in our galaxy on Earth?
Oh, yeah.
Or is this something that has to
I
come at a specific time?
I think it's sooner than we think.
I want to say that it's sooner than we think because we have a very short time window as it is.
I mean, look at the mainstream media trying to push, get ahead of the UFO narrative.
But they're not getting ahead of it. They're still telling you to be fearful of it.
Oh yeah, because they want to control it. They want to use it as a control mechanism too. Imagine if they could get the world to lock down like they did with COVID, but with UFOs or some extraterrestrial threat or foreign threat.
And you don't have to imagine it. You just really think about it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it is a reality.
Think about how many years it took for COVID-19 for people to wake up from 2019.
Well, no. Hold on. If they were to pull the fake alien invasion card, they would have to use some sort of destruction capability. They would have to do something spectacular.
You think they'd use part of the Nazi Draco fleet?
Yes.
Wait. But what about the TR-3Bs?
That is
all
part
they
of
have
it.
to do is uncloak all of those bad boys above the cities, shoot one beam down or whatever direct energy weapon they have, blow up one thing, and they get full control and compliance from the entire world.
But that's under the impression that, the Black Triangles want to do that. From my understanding and from the way I have interpreted everything, the Black Triangles are a mixture. Both the Nazis and Solar Warden have black triangles and winged ships. So the distinction is damn near impossible. The biggest distinction, I would say, is Vrillion. And what I mean by Vrillion is the type of energy that is used to power each craft. I would say Solar Warden uses more of a technology that is in line with Ashtar Command and, more or less what they use, and reverse engineered technology that they were given, versus the Vrillion technology that is the, harnessed sexual energy from the priesthood of the Vril society and their population as a whole.
Are there any more blue pills left? Because yeah, this is messing with my mind. It's like, how do we honestly tell what, like, if a ship is benevolent or malevolent if they give no indication? As far as like real UFOs and light craft and cloud craft, yes, it's obvious. But like, how are they piloted, or are these like drones? I'm just confused.
I think there's a mixture, because from what I've understood from German culture, and I don't think this has ever died if you're talking about a breakaway civilization of the Nazis, pilots were the most heavily revered soldier. So I don't think they would ever want to get rid of that. I think they would want to revere that and make it as best as it possibly can. So designing ships that better suit a pilot versus a drone. And see, I never liked the drone idea. I've never liked the idea of those craft being drones. I've never subscribed to it because A, in my opinion, they're too big. B, that wouldn't make sense. Why would you send a drone when you want to go see something up close with your own eyes? Don't send a fucking camera.
Well, no, I mean, like, it's, if you guys have seen like the last Star Wars, and God bless you if you did, but the very end with Palpatine bringing out like the fleet, right, of like all these craft, it just part of me thinks, and I try not to, I definitely believe that these craft are anti-gravitics. Obviously, we have blueprints to fix that. But anyway, it's just, are all of them piloted, or are some of them remote guided? Because I have no doubt in my mind that it can carry weight. I mean, we've seen these things not only under the water, approach volcanoes, go into deep space. So I do believe that they're carrying a cargo, but it's just like, are all of them occupied? That's the real question. Because they could have a bunch of them, and they could just deploy them all at a given moment.
Yeah, true.
Well, how do we know if they're benevolent? That's the biggest thing.
That is a good question.
Your gut?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I have some UFO reports where, some of the craft make the animals go insane. Some people feel paranoid when they see them because they feel like they're being watched. So I wouldn't necessarily equate that to a benevolent sighting, but I'm, for me, and I try not to take distinctions on this, I just put both in a different category. Like, I can't, like, part of me can look back and take a step back and say, okay, well, Space Force, right? What is Space Force? Space Force has to have some kind of awareness of the TR3B phenomena, if not in possession of the TR3B. And if that's the case, then yeah, that's a benevolent, controlled operation. But if this is completely out of the scope of any of the good guys per se, then I can only really equate the benevolent craft to those that kind of like peacefully observe, you know, and are sometimes seen within clouds, are sometimes seen in thunderstorms, sometimes hovering in the sky, and then they just take off. So, I mean, a lot of these craft, the TR3Bs specifically, they're not really hiding anymore. If you've ever seen a video of a TR3B sighting, they are always having their 3 pinpoint lights illuminated. So it's not even like they're trying to hide. It's a clear equilateral triangle hovering in the sky. And makes me wonder, like, are they doing this as a psychological operation to start conditioning society to accept these, or is it more so just accidental interference? Because not a lot of people look up at the sky. You know, I mean, that if everybody looked up at the sky, the UFO reports would be triple the number. But I think for now, it's only the people that want to look up that actually end up catching these UFOs. So the distinction is just blurred to me. And again, I have no idea what Space Force is or what they're doing. So if somebody can enlighten me, that'd be awesome.
I wish I knew.
I think it's more like a gut intuition. It's like you said, observing, but there's a difference between observation from afar and stalking. And it's kind of like when you walk through the woods, you're hiking, you know, either by yourself, which is very, very scary all the time. But if you have a buddy and you hear that stick break and you're like, man, that was a big stick that was just snapped. That had someone was or something was out there that put pressure on that. And it just makes you think about something. And you get that feeling like, ooh, I'm getting stalked. Or, you know, I don't know. It's like people in Colorado getting hiking and just getting pounced by a bobcat or something like that out of nowhere. That kind of feeling, you just get that feeling. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's the most basic of it.
I know what you mean, Andrew. Are there any final thoughts? Because that's all I wrote. Tried to hold out for Dylan, but can only hold out for so long.
Do you want to talk a little bit more? Because there was a main topic about all this that you guys didn't bring up that was with Freemasons and occult and hypnotism and all that stuff was medical.
That's part 2. That's the nitty gritty of it all.
My bad. Sorry.
Didn't want to go too deep in the topic specifics. I just wanted to go into an overall general history, what it is. Got to remember, we got to do parts. Can't just go into everything.
Oh, my bad. I haven't caught up. How about the blood eyes from the mother statue Catholic thing?
Yeah, we'll hit all of that in part 2.
Okay.
I mean, there's lots to go into, but
all right.
I think a good thing, since we have everybody here. Also, we want to just thank you guys for holding out. It's been an awesome time. We do love Mystery School. We're trying new things here. And one of those new things, I guess we're going to start to do, and this is something that I wanted to talk to you about, Scoop, but maybe we can do community input between different topics. So right now we just did Vatican Part 1. Maybe we open the mics here and see what people want to cover. And then we could just kind of put that on a list and maybe put it into a poll sometime through the week, and we can see what people want to chat about. But
have a lovely rest of your week. Thank you for coming. And as always, never forget, just keep on seeking. Have a great night, everybody.
Love you.
Okay.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Peace.